let us now move to our final panel discussion on churning the ocean of customer data. For this, I would like to first call on the stage Kunal Mehta. Kunal, Global Data Platforms owner at Kimberly-Clark, brings over 18 years of experience in delivering data-driven solutions across industries like auto, finance, banking, travel, CPG, and retail. He leads initiatives across data engineering, sciences, and analytics to drive incremental sales in 130 plus markets across EMEA and APAC. Kunal explores generative AI with frameworks like LangChain and LangFlow, leveraging LLM models like OpenAI to build modular applications solving business challenges. He empowers CXOs with data-backed insights to optimize spend and boost metrics such as sales, revenue, margins, and conversions. With a track record of managing 100 plus exceptional resources and key accounts globally, Kunal has led teams across the US, UK, APAC, and EMEA. His expertise spans analytics consultancy, BI-driven insights, advanced analytics, media optimization, digital enablement, and creating cloud-based data pipelines backed by exceptional leadership and communication skills. Welcome, Kunal. Next, I would like to introduce Varun Krishna. Varun is an award-winning digital marketing leader with over 20 years of experience driving customer acquisition, engagement, and revenue growth for leading organizations including VPBank Vietnam, McKinsey & Company, and DBS Bank, among the others. Recognized for leveraging AI and MarTech solutions, he has redefined customer acquisition strategies, personalized customer journeys, and unlocked growth opportunities in the banking and financial services sector. Now focusing on generative AI, marketing automation, and emerging technologies like AI agents and no-code platforms, Varun is shaping the future of how businesses engage customers and achieve remarkable results in today's dynamic digital era. Welcome, Varun. And to round off the final panel of the day, I would like to invite Manik Bhambri. Manik is a visionary leader with over 15 years of extensive experience in the banking and financial services industry. As the head of digital transformation and innovation at Protean eGov Technologies Limited, Manik plays a pivotal role in shaping the future and the organization through cutting-edge strategies and innovative solutions. Manik's career is marked by his expertise in API banking and his deep understanding of the evolving digital landscape. Having held key roles across leading banks, he has honed his ability to drive transformative initiatives that balance risk and opportunity, ensuring sustained growth and agility. His forward-thinking approach empowers Protean eGov to remain at the forefront of the industry, delivering innovative, efficient, and secure solutions. Welcome, Manik. Along with them, I would like to call Aditya Agrawal, Senior Director, Client Operations at Lemnisk as well, to moderate this session.
Good evening, everyone. Manik, Varun, Kunal, thank you for joining us for this panel today. The topic of discussion for this panel is churning the ocean of customer data. I think throughout this evening, across all the panelists we have had, all the guests we've had, we have heard the importance of data. And I think it is an understatement how important data plays a role in all of our lives on a day-to-day basis. There's a very interesting quote which I was going through, that absence of data is equivalent to being deaf and blind on a freeway. So when you look at customer data and talk about customer data, specifically in today's day and age, a customer is spoiled with choices. I hope you're all very familiar with that. A customer today not just have options from different brands to choose, but then how that customer also interacts with that brand. So when you look at that particular customer and the possibilities of how customer can interact with those brands, whether it is a mobile app, whether it is a website, a social media engagement, or a call with a sales agent, you have data scattered across different systems and different teams. So that brings us to our first question, that when you have data scattered across different systems and different teams, what sort of challenges you have faced in creating that comprehensive and actionable single view of the customer, and how have you addressed those challenges? Manik, if we can start with you.
Yeah, sure. So I guess at Protean, erstwhile and SDL, if people do not know the recent name, we deal with a lot of data. So we are custodian. We issue PAN cards in India. We are the NPS CRA, we are the Atal Pension Yojana CRA. So in that sense, we hold a lot of data. So 450 million plus PAN cards we have issued in the country so far. So there's a lot of data flying around, and we are custodians of that. So coming to the point, the challenges, and I have first-hand experience, dealing with this situation right now. Customer comes to us through various platforms. Say, for example, a contact center or sending us emails, through our web applications, through mobile applications, and we are not able to make any sense out of it. That's one of the major problems that we have faced. So this is basically, like Madhi also mentioned, data silos. All these applications are different and they are not talking to each other today. And that's, I guess, problem with most of the organizations today. The second is the quality of data itself, which means the data is not in the right shape and form to be able to use. Marketers cannot run campaigns on data which is not in the right shape and form. The third I've seen is the identity challenge, which means the customer is coming to us through various channels, through various touch points, and we are not able to make any sense out of it, which means only if there is so of course, as much as there are challenges, there are solutions to it. For example, we apply deterministic and probabilistic matches. Deterministic simply means that, if there are identifiers to customers, for example, there's a cust ID organizations will have, or there is an email ID, there is a name, there is a phone number, there's a clear identifier. In probabilistic matching, we use statistical algorithms basically. So there is a 75% name match, or there is a 80% address match, or there is a IP which he has used the same device to access different channels. So there is a statistical probability around it. So using these techniques, we solve these problems. But yes, there are certainly these challenges are there.
Yeah, so I represent VPBank in Vietnam. So essentially in Vietnam, we've seen that there's been a huge digitization that's happened post-COVID. In India, the time of demonetization is when all of us got onto digital platforms, right? So that's really happened in Vietnam post-COVID. So, in terms of the data, what we're seeing now is, again, there's a lot of data siloization. So there's a certain segment of customers that we have who are extremely digitally savvy. So we have fairly clean data about them, right? So people who are transacting on the app, etc. But it's really those customers who are still going to the branch channels and talking to our agents as well as the customer service folks. That data is not particularly clean. So in order to circumvent that, we have over the past year and a half set up a data lake. And a lot of our data now sits on the cloud, powered by AWS and Azure and a few other technologies. And really now there's a process of the entire consolidation. And of course, as AI gets more and more advanced, we will need to have, the entire data, in place in order for it, to kind of, supplement accordingly. So those are some of the issues that we face. Secondly, also there are now very, very strict laws in terms of customer consent that are happening across the Southeast Asia region, including India as well. So customer privacy and customer consent are something that we need to capture, because those are auditable. So yeah, these are some of the primary ones that we face right now.
Great. Last couple of hours have been very depressing for me, by the way. And I'll tell you the reason why. So I'm coming from a CPG organization. Our biggest brand is Huggies, right? Till now, we were thinking that our biggest competitors are not Pampers, YouTube, Instagram, all these people, because this is where IPL, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi and all that, because people are actually going ahead and spending a lot of time on these activities than making babies. And honest to God, I thought that people going on those little romantic vacations would mean that maybe a few months down the line, we'll go ahead and solve this problem. But in the second panel discussion, Deepa told us that people are actually going ahead and preferring vacations over making babies. So even that seems like a bummer to me. So about this problem now, right? So most of the organizations are data rich and insights poor. The CPG problem is that we are data poor, insights poor. We do not really go ahead and talk to our consumers. I mean, our consumers are little babies, but we don't even go ahead and talk to our customers, right? We go ahead and sell to the retailers, the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's and the Walmarts and the Walgreens of the world. They go ahead and take our product to the customer, right? So we do not own our customer, we do not own the transactions, we do not own the relationship, we do not own the engagement, right? So my biggest problem is get me the data somehow, right? So what we try to go ahead and do is we go ahead and try to partner with data providers, the likes of LiveRamps, the likes of Trade Desk, right? Not that we do not go ahead and collect data, we do go ahead and collect data. We do have really nice websites and all that, where we go ahead and provide a lot of information about pregnancy, about potty training. We go ahead and provide a lot of information about how to go ahead and take care of babies and all these kind of things. At the very same time, there are, we do have other products as well, like Kleenex tissue, right? So we do have apps like Pollen Pal and all that, which will go ahead and tell you on the basis of the weather, the season and all that, what are the chances of pollens in the environment and how you can go ahead and prepare yourself for the pollen season and all that, right? So we get data from all these kind of places, but this is very limited data, very, very small set, right? So we go ahead and utilize this data at seed audiences in places like LiveRamps and Trade Desk, and then try to go ahead and build lookalike models on top of that and all that, right? So these are some of the challenges that I go ahead and face. Number one, I am data poor. Secondly, the data that I'm getting from these partners, whether that be LiveRamp, Trade Desk, our retailer partners like Tesco's and Walmart, I have to go ahead and trust it. It's a black box out there, and they go ahead and tell me, trust me, dude, this is good. And I have to go ahead and trust that, right? And the only person who can trust on data is the one who collects it. The rest, everyone has 0% faith on that data, correct? So that is my second problem. That the data, forget about trusting my own data, I cannot, because it's not really my data, so I cannot go ahead and trust it as well, right? So these are some of the challenges that I go ahead and face day to day, right? And then because I said that we do have different products, different brands, Cortex, Andrex, Kleenex, Huggies, and all these kind of products, right? But I cannot really go ahead and get data from all these brands in one single place because of legal issues, right? We do go ahead and take consent from our users on brand basis. We cannot go ahead and take one Kimberly-Clark umbrella consent from our users. So these are some of the challenges that we go ahead and face every single day, right? So we are looking for partners who can actually go ahead and provide us that reliable data about our customers, about the segments that we can go ahead and reach out to, so that we can go ahead and stitch together a meaningful profile of our consumers. So these are some of the challenges that I go ahead and face every day.
I think great to hear inputs from three of you coming from the three different industries. But a few things which stand out is obviously data being in silos, a lack of quality and trust in the data. So obviously there's a big challenge in creating that comprehensive and actionable customer one view as we talk about it. And that customer one view is also will stand true to its value, not only in terms of just collecting the data and showing it, but as you guys mentioned, gathering insights from it. Because as we discussed about the fact that you have customers who are interacting, maybe not directly or indirectly with your brand, you would also want to engage with your customers on those touch points, and meaningfully so, where the customer experience is great, there's consistency in communications and all of those things. So when you look at that perspective, right, what are some of the best practices you've seen or you've implemented, which and other businesses can implement, where there can be like orchestration connection with all these different touch points, and accordingly a seamless customer experience can be established? Kunal, if you can start with you.
Sure. So some of the things that we go ahead and do is, number one, we have really established our partnership with retail media networks now, right? And I would want to go ahead and underline this thing. There are a lot of business who cannot go ahead and reach to the end consumers by themselves. It's extremely important that you go ahead and have a partnership with people who can go ahead and talk to the customers, right? And you go ahead and force these partnerships, you go ahead and get this data so that you can, with the help of technologies like clean room, so that you do not know who you are going ahead, whose data that you are going ahead and looking into, but you are getting the right, accurate insights from there, so that you can go ahead and understand about your customers, right? So this is something that we have started doing, by the way, and retail media network is picking up. It is going, it has done really well within US, in other geographies like UK, Brazil, and all that, Australia. This is where we are going ahead and picking up. One more thing that I would want to go ahead and tell you is that businesses like ours are very market specific, are very geography specific, right? So what you are doing in Australia, you might not be doing in Brazil. What you are doing in Brazil, you might not be doing in UK, right? So there are two things which are extremely important for us. Number one is repeatability, how much a solution can be repeated. Number two is reproducibility. If I go ahead and run the same solution again, it will go ahead and give me the same insights and everything as well. This goes ahead and shows that I have accurate data as well, right? So these are some of the things that you can go ahead and utilize in your own businesses, that you can go ahead and forge those partnerships from where you can go ahead and get data if you are data poor. And if you have enough amount of data, make sure that whatever processes and products that you are building, they are reproducible and they are, you can go ahead and reuse them as well, those solutions.
So, from a bank point of view, we're acquiring close to about 35-40% of customers now through the app. So then that becomes quite seamless. So essentially, from an onboarding, experience, we've working with several marketing automation platforms now to orchestrate a particular journey, which is segmented by the type of customer, right? So from a banking point of view, we are targeting the mass customer, to mass affluent, all the way to the affluent customers, right? So one is about identifying what kind of customer you are, basis signals. And then it's really about having that personalized customer journey from an onboarding point of view in terms of what are the kind of products that, which appeal to you the most. And we're working with our AI and machine learning teams internally to come up with propensity models. And through that, at the time of onboarding itself, we're able to give you a particular offer. We're also able to kind of figure out if you're eligible for a home loan or a credit card, and those offers get delivered. In Vietnam, there's, and Southeast Asia as well, there's a peculiarity that links are not allowed in email and as well as SMS. So our ability to communicate is sort of limited to push notifications as well as the app. And hence it becomes really important to have a fantastic user experience on the app, which becomes sticky. Right, so the customer feels compelled to, come back to the app, and and as long as it's personalized, we've seen that the open rates become much higher, right? So from a communication point of view, on the push notification, as well as the information that we put out on social media, which is also segmented and leading right up to the app experience, right? So I think it's about orchestrating that journey end to end. So it's much more easier for a pure digital customer, becomes slightly more challenging for a branch customer because some of the reasons. But I guess once we have the entire data orchestration in place, it'll become more seamless end to end. Because today customers going from one channel to the other, right? So depending on the use case or the need, so hopefully it'll get better from here.
So I'll give a more technical response to this. Because we are in a more of a monopolistic business. There is no industry benchmarking here. So for me, integrating the source of the data with the common platform is very critical, is what I think. Once you have that, once you have live data streaming into your platform, you can create a 360 view of the customer. Now, once that is done, then there comes the AI layer over it, which will help you do behavioral analysis, sentiment analysis, which will help you do predictive analytics. Once you do this, of course, the story does not end here. Then you build the journeys for interventions, right? For example, somebody comes to my website to apply for a PAN card. On page number 5, he drops off. Okay, immediately I'll send a WhatsApp message saying that, why don't you just, that's a nudge, right? A soft nudge. Why don't you just come back and complete the journey? Okay, same way for an e-commerce company, maybe it could be, we have added items to the cart and we, at the final page of payment, we just abandon the cart. Immediately a nudge can go to the customer saying, that why don't you just come and complete your purchase? Okay, just a month back, for example, I was about to take a subscription of a news channel through their mobile app, and I left the journey at the last page. till date, I'm getting nudges on my WhatsApp. Why don't you just come and do your purchase? So I guess that's how we bring the experience at the same time ROI for the organization, right? We help customer complete the purchase.
I have a follow-up question. Was that news channel magazine able to convert you successfully?
Very soon, it seems, if they stay persistent, yes.
I think there were a few interesting topics touched around the ways you're engaging with your customers. Kunal, you talked about the essence of understanding what works in one geography doesn't work in the other, about understanding whether something worked once can be reproduced again, can be repeated again. Varun, you talked about the hyper-personalization angle, there's marketing automation angle, orchestration across different channels, and then also introducing concepts of AI and ML, which leads to propensity modeling and understanding how it can predict certain things in terms of customer engagement. Similarly, as you mentioned, Manik, in incidents of nudging or nurturing where you're pushing users forward in the buying journey and seeing whether the user converts. So these are different possibilities in ways you can engage with the customer. But when you look at all these different possibilities, and you also look at the scale at which you operate, at an enterprise scale where there are thousands and millions of customers you're engaging with across different audiences, different segments, different channels, what sort of best practices you implemented or you would recommend to accordingly measure the impact and accordingly then deciding that, okay, in Kunal's words, whether this is repeatable or not repeatable, and accordingly deciding how to change something and go about it. Varun, if you can start with you.
So from a banking point of view, and especially if you're running a digital channel, it becomes a little short-sighted, right? So it's always focus on KPIs of new sales, etc. But I think from a measurement point of view, it's important to look at the LTV. So that's really one. So in terms of looking at the overall lifetime value of the customer, I think that's important. But I think from a broader perspective, one has to look at it a little strategically. I think we are at a very interesting time where consumer expectations will be changing very rapidly with AI, right? So today, all of us are using ChatGPT to ask all kinds of questions. I really believe that people will be using a banking app as well as an assistant, right? So I call it like not IA, but not AI, but IA, which is an intelligent advisor, right? So imagine bank as an advisor, which you're able to chat with, converse with, and it knows you, it nudges you at the right time. Madhisa's example was also good that, when you go into Apollo and you're looking for, a specific use case, specific ailment, it's trying to cross-sell you everything. And that really resonated with me because, all my communication is driven as per my KPIs rather than potentially what the customer really needs. But I think with AI and that hyper-personalization going forward, we should be able to achieve that, right? So think of banking or another banking app as an advisor. And I really think that that's where it should head. So banks have to hence look at it at a slightly bigger picture and more strategically. Also I think that Madhis also spoke about the entire AI agent space, and I think that's also going to be very interesting in terms of how marketing operations are also streamlined as well as become more efficient, right? So you can have a great campaign, but when it goes to a call center, they may not have the right script, or they may not be able to deliver the product in the most effective way. And I've seen that across, right? I mean, recently I was buying a car, and of course I went to Carvale, and all the information was there. And then I went to the different websites, and all I wanted was a test drive. And I submitted my lead on 5 different sites, and most of them did a fairly poor job. Two car companies did a great job, and they gave me the test drive at the right time, and I actually ended up closing the deal. And there was one company that called me after a week, and now they're consistently pinging me on WhatsApp and everything. I'm like, dude, I've already bought the car, right? So don't bother me anymore. So I think somewhere down the line, marketing also needs to be looked end to end from a customer experience point of view. It's my view that probably AI agents will be able to nurture the lead a lot better, probably even outcall the lead, and then pass on the distilled information to the sales agent to go out and close, right? So I believe that we're at a cusp of a productivity evolution with AI, and with the right data orchestration, MarTech stack, CDP platforms, I think can really make that happen. So I think now's the time to really look at it slightly more strategically rather than only looking at from a KPI point of view.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and give you very generic guidelines, right? So best practices that we have noticed within Kimberly-Clark, right? Because we are a manufacturing company, so our DNA is that, right? So there are 7 promises that every product, every project has to go ahead and make, right? Number 1, increase productivity. Number 2, enhance quality. Number 3, reduce consumption. Number 4, reduce the cost. Number 5, strengthen the safety. Number 6 is to constant monitoring. And number 7 is preempt maintenance. Every product, every project, data, non-data, manufacturing, whatever, it has to go ahead and quantify the impact on all these 7 promises. Even if it's less, it's more, doesn't matter, but it has to go ahead and quantify impact on these 7 parameters. Number 2, we always go ahead and start small, but we go ahead and do it fast. The reason is we go ahead and spend a lot of time in planning. So your focus, there a lot of time has to go in planning. I know everyone goes ahead and we have this knack of doing it, completing it in a hurry, right? But we have this framework of crawl, walk, run, fly. Lot of work has to go, a lot of effort has to be put in planning phase. So this is why we start small, but we start at very pace. Our next principle is we do not mind failures. Only 2 caveats. Number 1, sooner the better, smaller the better. That's about it. These are the principles that we go ahead and follow to go ahead and create any kind of a product, to go ahead and any kind of a project. So these are our best practices.
So to measure the impact, I think the common sense says, analyze the pre and post, right? Pre and post analysis, set the baseline, set KPIs as per your organization needs, and move ahead. I guess second could be quantitative and qualitative analysis. Now, quantitative is more of looking at the real numbers, the repeat customer rate, or lifetime value, or how many products per customer, etc., etc. The qualitative part is basically going to the why these numbers. So of course that will come through surveys, through CSAT, NPS, through social listening, and there are tools for that. The one of the most important one, according to me, is the attribution modeling. Now, the marketing folks would of course understand these marketing terminologies, but this essentially means giving credit to the touch point, to the channel, which has helped you convert the customer in simple terms. So there are single touch attributes, there are multi-touch. Simply means would you give credit to the first touch point where the customer came, or would you give to the last, or would you distribute across? So these are the models which are readily available. Any evolved data platform will have these models built into it. So, and there are, of course, customized reports you can take out from the system, and you can do the analysis. Yeah.
I think some great thoughts about all the topics we touched upon in terms of creating that customer one view, gathering insights from it, and accordingly acting and measuring that particular impact which that action has. So that brings us to the conclusion of this particular panel discussion. Kunal, Varun, Manik, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal, Manik, Varun, and Aditya for a captivating and informative discussion. I would like to invite Praveen to present a token of appreciation to the panelists.